Hey friends, hello, how are you? I'm Lisa. Welcome to my channel. Today's Tuesday, February 7th, and so I thought it was time to get the first February episode in here this week. I am in a kind of a different setup. Not so much the room, but I'm using a different, it's not even a tripod, it's a gooseneck thing. And if I bump this table, you're probably all going to go, oh. So I'm going to try to avoid doing that so that you guys don't get motion sickness. Although I just did it. I just bumped the table. I'm sorry. Hopefully it won't be super noticeable. Anyway, how are you doing? I hope you've had a good couple of weeks since I recorded last. I have things to talk about today, which is good. Otherwise, we'd all just be sitting here staring at each other. But I wanted to start out by thanking any one of you who is a supporter of the podcast. You can support the channel either through becoming a member, which you'll find on the Fiber Nymph Dye Works YouTube page. You can find out information about that. Or you can support me simply by going to Ko-Fi and buying me a coffee or leaving a tip or however you want to refer to it. And you can do that for as little as $1 with no commitment to ever do it again. So that's up to you. But anyway, if you have been supporting the channel, I appreciate it so much. And thank you. Let's see. I have January prizes to announce today for the Soy Mal. So I'm going to be doing that. I also have some finished objects. I have a couple of whips, both of which the main ones I'm going to talk to you about are in great need of mitigation efforts, hence the title of this episode. And I have a little bit of shop news also. And it's all going to probably be scattered around the episode. I'm going to start by telling you what I'm wearing. This is actually one of my finished objects. This is a little scarflet or shawlette, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a little scarf that I made using my January 2023 Personal Stash Yarn Challenge yarn, which was a skein of Dusty Tree Dye Works twig in the Stormy Night colorway. So that was some stash that I'm trying to use. If you aren't aware of my little challenge, I did this for myself last year and I was moderately successful. I used all but 4 months worth of the yarn that I had picked for myself. This year I'm hoping to do all 12 plus those last 4 from last year. Anyway, this is some DK weight yarn that I had in my stash, and I just knit this little end-to-end scarf, shawlette, whatever you would like to call it. I love this color, and I love how the stitch pattern that I ended up using played with the color. I designed this on the fly. I'm probably going to write it up. That's my plan. I want to adapt it a little bit though. It ended up being a little shorter than I would like it, although it is obviously perfectly long enough to do this and to wear it, just as a nice little scarfy wrap. Keeps your neck warm. I got my hair cut last week. It's shorter than it's been in years, and every day I'm like, my neck's cold. So it's been great for wearing cowls and little things wrapped around my neck like this in the house. Anyway, I'm super happy with it. I did block this aggressively to get as much length out of it as I could. But I want to work it again. I'd like to try working it in fingering weight, and I'd also like to do it with a greater amount of DK weight. And it works wonderfully for a variegated yarn though, with this little moss stitch patterning and an eyelet edging with some decorative doodah going on there. So anyway, I'm really happy with it. And it's one skein of yarn that's been in my stash that I can now enjoy on my body. So since I've started with that, let's just go into the rest of the finished objects that I have to tell you about. They're all actually small. Nothing is major, which tells you right then and there that I did not finish my Highland Slipover, but we are going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay, let's see. Next up, I did this yesterday. I totally went down a rabbit hole on this project after seeing the video tutorial for it on Instagram. It's called the Valentines Rose. Oh, excuse me. I had a little hiccup there. It's called the Valentine's Rose Ball. Isn't it cute? These are all little crocheted roses. Well, roses. I'll use that loosely. The sample one in the video and in the pattern looks much more rose-like than these because it was all reds and pinks and whites. Mine, I just used DK scraps in vaguely flowered colors. I ended up crocheting 24 of these little flowers. They take no time. Literally, I think I can crochet one in maybe definitely under 5 minutes, if not 3. Okay, so let me tell you, the pattern is called the Valentine's Rose Ball. It's by Jennifer Dickinson, and she goes by Fiberflux. That's her design name, and her YouTube channel is also Fiberflux. I follow her on YouTube. She posts a ton of patterns, and she does video tutorials for many of them, and she's got a ton of patterns out there, and I like her videos. So anyway, I just watched the video, and this was super easy. She does not do as much finishing as I did with the flowers. Like, she doesn't weave in any ends on hers. She just glues them all down because this is a styrofoam ball inside and hot glue gun. She's just kind of gluing everything down. I did actually weave in the ends mainly to kind of give the flowers some extra shape so they weren't just coiled together. I kind of did a little crisscrossy end weaving in underneath that kind of made them bloom out a little bit, and I liked that. I liked how that worked. And then I tied them in a double knot on the bottom and snipped the ends a little bit, and then I glued them down when I was all done. But yeah, this was a 2.5 inch ball. I think the pattern calls for like a 3.5 inch maybe, but this is what I happened to have. I was totally excited that I knew exactly where they were and could lay my hands on them, because I don't remember what I even bought them for. It's been a long time. And I had a ribbon, and I could find my good glue gun. It was an amazing day. It was meant to be. So anyway, 24 of these little roses. I was just sort of pinning them on the ball as I went to see how many I was going to need, but 24 fit perfectly. And now I've got this cute little hangy thing. I think I'm going to send it to my mom, because I honestly don't really have anywhere to hang it here. And I sent a picture of it to my mom. She was like, oh, that's so pretty. So unless she was just saying that as the obligatory thing that the mom says. But she's probably going to get this. So it'll be a fun little decorative item for her. So that is one thing. And it used up scraps, which is one of my goals for this year as part of my SSOY MAL goals, which is the Stop Shooting on Yourself make along, which I'll talk about more a little bit later, especially whenever I announce January prize winners. But anyway, that one used, let me see, I used like 48 grams of DK weight leftovers. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what else. I also crocheted, it was a big crocheting period here. I crocheted this little pouch. This is a little Oracle deck that Emma had, and she got it for Christmas, and it didn't come with any box or anything. It was just weird. It's not weird, but it came in an envelope, and so she asked me if I would make her a pouch. So I did. I just crocheted a little pouch. I do these a lot. I love doing these little, and I was really happy with, I made this little decorative band across the middle of the back, which was fun because I'm not a good I'm not an experienced crocheter. I can crochet, and I can do a perfectly fine job at basic stuff, but I don't know a lot about the technical aspects of crochet. But if I have a good pattern or I'm doing basic things, I can do pretty well. So yeah, that's her little pouch. So that was also scraps, and I think that was 20 something. How many grams did I use for that? Did I put that on here? I didn't write it on here, but you know, it probably wasn't even 20 grams because I used a little mini and I didn't use the whole thing. So anyway, quickie little project. And then the last project that I basically am lumping together as a project was a whole bunch of my little fluffy hearts. I had to make a bunch of them because I wrote the pattern up finally and it's been published. And so I needed fluffy hearts for the picture, and this was the one that I had already done. Yeah, so these are a lot of fun to make. They're also very addicting. This is knit, not crochet. And you hold a strand of fingering weight with a strand of lace weight, like the mohair silk lace weight. So I made all of mine with my Mountain House, either Mountain House BFL, or not Mountain House, Mountain Tweed BFL or Mountain Tweed Merino, depending on if it was a leftover from a big skein, because those are the BFL base, or my minis, which are the Merino base. So that's what I made those out of, and then a little strand of my fluff. They use, oh my gosh, I think I estimate about 3 grams of a fingering weight and not quite 2 grams of the lace weight to make one. So they use up nothing, but like you make enough of them, you use up your leftovers. So that was my other leftover that I used. I do have kits for these in the shop as well as the pattern. So the pattern is available both in my shop as well as on Ravelry. You can purchase it either place. I did include a pay what you can option if you don't want to pay the full $5 or you are not able to pay the full $5. There are coupon codes to pay. There's 2 different options for paying less. That being said, I am donating all of the profits after payment processing fees for the pattern. All of my profits from the pattern are going to be donated to Canines for Warriors, which is an organization that works to end veteran suicide. And then I also have the kits, which the pattern is a digital download. Once you buy the kit, you can download the pattern immediately from the website, but then you'll get a little 2 sets here. So you'll get a 10-gram mini of fingering weight and a 5-gram mini of the fluff, kid silk, kid mohair silk. And these should make 3. Each one of these little sets should make 3 hearts if you're knitting it according to the pattern. So. And I am donating $5 from each of the kits to Canines for Warriors. So I've got 10 different color combinations in the shop, or 10 different colors. They're the same color in both yarns. And you have your choice of either Bounce, Bedazzled, or Mountain Tweed. And it will be Mountain Tweed BFL because I can't get the 10-gram minis in merino. I can't get them at all in a tweed, so I have to wind them off myself, and I have to do that from my big skeins. So they are the Mountain Tweed BFL. So anyway, those are in the shop now if you're interested in those. Okay, so that's everything that I've crafted that's a finished object. So let's move on to my works in progress. I will tell you up front, still in progress is my clasp weft weaving project. It's about 3/4 of the way done. Hopefully next time it'll be finished and I can show it to you. My combo spin is still a work in progress, and I've been busy knitting self-striping colorway samples to have for my spring shows that I'm going to be doing in April and May. So those have been sort of on the go, not done, but I'm no big deadline. Well, the colorway samples have to be done by the shows, but you know what I mean. Like I'm just kind of doing those a little bit here and there. So I will show you those kind of things once they're finished, but they're not right now. But the 2 whips that I'm basically going to talk to you about today are my Highland Slipover, first of all, and my Granny Stripes cardigan. So let's start with the Highland Slipover. When you saw it last time, I'm pretty sure it looked like this. The same way it looks right now. And I told you that I was nearing the end where I would need to start splitting for the split hem. I thought I had maybe another 4 or 5 inches to go to get to the final length. I did try it on after I talked to you, and that was indeed pretty accurate. So I decided to stop working on the length, and I wanted to knit the neckband because I was pretty sure that once I put the neckband on, it was going to sort of pull the body up a little bit, and I didn't want to finish the length and then have it pull it up and not be quite long enough once I did the neck. And I do think that was a valid concern. So I did go ahead and do the neck, and I will put a picture of it in here with the neck. I was very happy with the neck. It was a little wonky in the one corner, but I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. So I was happy with the neck. And I thought, well, you know what? While I'm working up here before I go back down to finish the length, I'm just going to put the armhole bands on because there's no sleeves. It's just a drop shoulder kind of thing, and so they just needed armbands. So I went ahead and I picked up for the first armband, and oddly I picked up far fewer stitches than the pattern called for, even though I was picking them up at the rate the pattern called for. And I thought, that's weird. But it was one of those things, it's like, well, that's weird, but I think I did it right. So I went ahead and I knit the armhole and bound it off and tried it on, and it was indeed not right, because here's my shoulder seam, which should be, again, at the top of my shoulder. It wasn't at the top of my shoulder. It was about 2 inches onto my back, both of them. Like, it just, everything shifted to the back. I'm like, oh, that is not right at all. And so I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. But I took the armband out because clearly that wasn't right. And I could see, and you can even see here, here's the back of the top. Okay, so here's the armhole, the bottom of the armhole up to the shoulder seam. There is a lot less fabric here than there is here in the front. Like, there's probably, I'm going to say there's almost 2 inches difference. I don't know why, because I don't know why. I don't know if I don't know if this is off for some reason, like where I'm perceiving the bottom of the armhole to be is off. I don't know. I've gone through everything. I've counted rows, like from the bottom of the armpit up to the shoulder seam, both front and back. I can't find an error. Like, I can't find where I did an error. So I had ripped the armhole out, and then I also ripped the neckband out, thinking, well, maybe something I did there, like, threw things off too. So everything is back to this, and I can make it flat. Like, I can lay it out flat so that the shoulders are at the top where they're supposed to be. And then here's the shoulder here. And then this lays out flat, and then the fronts and the backs are equal. But this just feels like it has more fabric. I don't know why. My only hunch is one of two things. One, I'm using hand spun for this, and I know my hand spun is a couple of the skeins were heavier than the other skeins, so I don't know if that was enough to throw it off, or if between working the back and the front my gauge just changed. That could be too. I realized that if I could take these shoulder seams out and I could take some of that front fabric out, that would mitigate the issue. But I can't do that because this was not seamed. You started on the back and then you went up and you picked up the stitches at the shoulders and knit down until it was time to join in the round. So I can't undo this unless I actually cut it, which I could do. Like, I could snip it and just graft them back together once I took some length out of the front. I don't really want to do that though, because I'm not entirely sure that that would work well. I feel like I have a better chance of mitigating this weirdness by just doing the armhole slightly differently. It may not hang right that way either, but I'm going to try that first. I'm going to do the armholes next. And then after I do that, I will go back and I will put the neck in again if I can get it to hang right with the armholes. If I can't get it to hang right after doing the armholes over, I'm going to have to think about how to fix this. And it may end up being just cutting and taking some of the fabric out of the top of this and then grafting it back together. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I've done things like that in other garments, not necessarily up here, but to remove extra length. So I know I can do it, and the fact that it would be at a point where there's a seam would keep it from being totally unsightly, as opposed to, like, I've done it in the middle of a sleeve to take out extra sleeve length before, when I've had like a decorative cuff that I didn't want to have to reknit or anything. So I don't know, but needless to say, this is on, like, it's in timeout for right now, because I need to think about it before I move forward with it anymore. Because I want this garment, and I really want to like this garment. I don't want to just have it be something, you know, sort of wonky that I may or may never wear. I mean, it'll be nice once it's done, and if I can get that armhole weirdness straightened out. So anyway, that is on hold. And again, that is the Highland Slipover pattern by Ozetta. It's nothing against the pattern. I think the pattern's probably fine. I think the issue is lying with me and either my gauge, my tension, my row gauge, or the yarn just not being even, you know, working with thick and thin yarn. I think that one of those two things, or the combination of the two, are probably what's causing my problem. Anyway, with that being on hold for a little while, I started thinking, like, I really would like a garment to be finished. And I'm tempted to cast on something else, but I've got this Granny Stripes cardigan that has been sitting around. I cast this on in June of 2020, right? And I was super excited about it. Love the colors. This is my Mountain Tweed BFL. All these little colors. This was from back when I did actually wind off all of them to make minis. This was before I could actually get tweed minis. So this is all the BFL yarn. I mean, it looks the same as the merino minis that I get now. It's just a different fiber content. So anyway, so I've had this, and I talked about this probably a couple of months ago at this point, where I decided that, like, this pattern, it's called a Good Vintage Cardi, I think. I can't remember the name of the designer. I've mentioned it a lot of times, and it's on all the project pages, but I didn't feel like it was super well written or super clear. Now, again, I am not the world's most knowledgeable crochet person, so part of that could be me. It could be user error, but I've heard that comment from other people too. So, you know, your mileage may vary, but you've been warned. So anyway, I did this, and it was just taken so long, and I was having issues with understanding things, and I finally looked at it and I'm like, I'm just gonna, like, seam these shoulders. They're fine, they're deep enough, and they are. The armholes are deep enough. I'm like, I'm gonna try this on, and I'm just gonna finish it. Well, I tried it on, and you might remember, it does not fit. It doesn't come close to fitting where it would close in the front. I would have to have, like, button bands this wide to get it to close in the front. And that was when I learned that, like, crochet does not have the horizontal stretch that knit fabric has. It just does not at all. And so I was really sad, because I thought, I'm not going to be able to wear this. You know, I can't think of a way to make this work. But then this week, after I had my setback with the slipover, I thought, you know what, I've got to figure something out for this. And what I have concluded is I am going to finish this off so that it is an open front, short-sleeved cardigan. So what I'm going to do at this point, I've woven in all my ends, all of my little ends, which I was doing really well at just weaving them in as I went along anyway, but I just had the ones up at the armholes to do. So I wove in the last of my ends last night, and now I'm going to pick up at the bottom of the one front and just do single crochet the whole way around, back and forth, until I get it wide enough that I feel like when it's on, it's not going to, like, pop off the girls. Because that's my only thing about open front cardigans, is when you're larger chested, sometimes they just want to slide off, and then they're over here. I like them to kind of be hanging here. So I think if I make those front bands maybe about, I don't know, 1.5 inches wide, I think that'll be okay. So that's my thought. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to just do a finishing band around the armholes as well. And I think that will be how I'll wear this. I can wear it in warmer weather. This is not a drop shoulder, but it's also not a super deep sleeve, so I think that should be okay. I don't know. We'll see. Once I do it, maybe I won't like it. Maybe I will have to add some sleevage. And if I do, then that's fine. I will. But at least, if nothing else, if I finish it that way, I feel like I can at least take this to shows and have this be a sample of this yarn, even though the pattern was not completed as written. And the other thing, it will be a crochet sample. I have a lot of customers over the years who have commented about that they hardly ever see crochet samples in booths at shows, and I've always wanted to be able to fix that, and I've never really done that, so this would be great to have with me for that reason, even if I am never able to wear it. So we'll see, but that's my plan for that. So that's how I'm mitigating the issues with those two sweaters, the Highland Slipover and the Granny Stripes cardigan. Part of me feels a little like, I can't believe I have these two things that I put so much time and effort and energy into, and neither of them are working out super well. But I know in the end, if I can get them to the point where it's something that I'm going to like and feel comfortable in, it'll be okay. Even if they didn't turn out exactly as they were supposed to. And even if I had to do weird things to them to make them work, I think it'll be okay. We'll see. All right, so that brings us to the Stop Shooting on Yourself MAL, which we're doing this year, the SSOY MAL for short. There is information up both in the Ravelry group, the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group, and on the Fiber Nymph Dye Works blog on the website. So if you'd like to learn information about this, if you don't know about it, please find it there, or you're always welcome to email me. I've transitioned to a different email address. It's lisa@fibernymphdyworks.com. If you still use my old Gmail address, it will still get to me, but I'm trying to get everything switched over to the new one. So anytime you have to email me, just try to use lisa@fibernymphdyworks.com. Okay, so yeah, you can email me if you have questions about the make-along. That was the point of that. All right, January prizes. First of all, let me tell you what the prizes are. Because I just published the Fuzzy Heart, the Fluffy Hearts pattern, and because I have these kits available, that is what I'm offering to all 3 winners for their prize this month. You can go to the website and you can choose whichever kit you would like, which means you get to choose color and which fingering weight base you would like out of the 3 that are available. So what you will get will look something like this. This is the peach one on bounce base with the fluff. There's also Bedazzled is available, and Mountain Tweed, which is what I used for mine. So those are all available. I think there might be 1 or 2 variations that have sold out already, but for the most part, I think they're all still available. Okay, so winners. If you have already purchased this pattern and you don't want one of the kits, or if you're just not interested in the kits at all, the alternative prize is you can choose any giftable pattern through Ravelry up to $10, which can be more than one pattern that adds up to $10, or just a single pattern that's $10. Those are your 2 choices, either a Fluffy Hearts kit or a Ravelry pattern up to the value of $10. Okay, so 3 prizes: Chatter prize, Finished Object prize, and Instagram prize. First up is the Chatter prize. We had 443 chatter posts in January, and Random Number Generator chose post number 59, and that was Marie, who is Maria Lane. So congratulations, Marie. Marie is also a Pittsburgh area person, so congratulations to a virtual neighbor, practically. Anyway, Marie, let me know you won and which kit you would like, or which patterns you would like, and I'll get that off to you. I also need your mailing address. All right, next up is finished objects, and there were 43 finished objects turned in for January for the MAL, and random number generator chose number 22, and that was Sarah, who is PA Knitwit, and she's also from the Pittsburgh area, if you can believe it, which is kind of fun. It's like a hometown crowd thing going on here. Anyway, Sarah, congratulations. She had a lovely skein of handspun, as all of her handspun is, so that's one of her goals this year, is to spin down some of her fiber stash, so that's what qualified her for the finished object. And lastly, we have the Instagram hashtag, which is hashtag 90K SSOY MAL. Now, I realized probably in January, after I had already advertised all this, that the hashtag doesn't make a ton of sense at this point because the podcast is not called 90% Knitting anymore. But that's what I always used to name all my hashtags. They always started with 90K, and I just did it out of habit. So even though we're not the 90% Knitting podcast anymore, we're going to stick with that hashtag this year rather than change it at this point. So for the hashtag, there were 45 hashtagged posts with that hashtag. I think because I can't always tell what date something has been posted, and they don't always come up in order. And if you do like a reel and you put a hashtag in, that comes up under the hashtag, but it's hard for me to tell when. Every month, I'm going to just do the drawing for any of the hashtags. So the same post can't win more than once in the year, but if you post to Instagram throughout the year, every time I do a drawing, any of your hashtag posts will still be qualifiers. So that's just the easiest way for me to handle that and the most fair. At any rate, out of the 45 posts that were hashtagged in January, random number generator chose number 33, and as I looked at it and counted, that was a post by L. Mikal, who is Linda. So congratulations, Linda. Please get in touch with me and let me know what you would like for your prize and mailing address if it's something I need to mail to you, like one of these sets. And otherwise, just let me know what your pattern choices are. So that is the drawing. I feel like that was kind of chaotic the way I explained all of that. Sorry. But again, if you were one of the winners, please email me, lisa@fibernymphdyeworks.com, and we'll take care of your prizes that way. All right. Last up, I just want to let you know about the things that are in the shop. Aside from the Fluffy Hearts patterns and kits. And if you buy a kit, you don't have to buy the pattern separately. The pattern comes with the kit, just so you know. Okay, so those are in the shop. I've got some Sweetness Shortie Sock Sets in the shop right now. This one's on Traveler. I do believe there's a couple of bounce ones left as well. So this is a half skein of Traveler or a half skein of bounce, and then two 20-gram minis that coordinate with it. My Sweetness colorway has been a popular one in recent years, so I decided to do Shortie sock sets this year. Mainly because I'm getting them out a little close to Valentine's Day, and I figured, well, you could still knit up a shorty pair of socks. Or cast on Valentine's Day. There's never a bad time to cast on something bright and pink and light and happy. So anyway, those are in the shop. And then I also have my Cuddletime colorway, which I will put a picture of in here because I forgot to bring the sample in with me. Cuddletime was the encore colorway for the Tea for Two club that I did a couple years ago. Then last year I did the Encore Club, and that was one of the installments of that. So Cuddletime is actually a tea by Plum Deluxe Teas. It's one of my favorite teas ever. And so I used that as the inspiration for that colorway. And you can read all about that in the listing. So those skeins are up there as well. And I also, one other thing, this doesn't have anything to do with products, but I meant to mention this last time and I think I forgot. I'm working on giving different parts of the website kind of an update and a refresh. I'm working on updating my yarn base page because I have changed yarn bases a good bit or added some and taken some out since I originally did the website. So I'm working on that. And then I'm also doing a huge overhaul of the colorway galleries. So right now, if you click on colorway galleries on the website, you're not going to be able to get into them. It's going to ask you for a password. And there's actually nothing, well, there is stuff behind the password, but it's sort of a chaotic mess right now. So I hope to have the colorway galleries back up at some time this month. I think I optimistically was hoping to have them up by the end of January. That did not happen, but I am working at them. There was just a lot of stuff to change. So anyway, that's going on the website in case you happen to see that and wonder why you can't get to the colorways. So, all right, that's everything I've got for you this week. I'm going to let you go. I hope you're having a really good start to your February. And I hope you will join us for the Soy Mal. If you haven't already, it's never too late to join in because it's a very, very loose and free and just meant to be fun and enjoyable make-along this year. So please join us. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, you can find show notes in the drop down below. I also post them on the Fiber and Dye Works blog. I post them in the Ravelry group. And if I don't cover something, you are always welcome to, again, email me, lisa@fibernymphdyworks.com, and I will be happy to answer your questions. So anyway, have a good rest of your week, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care.